My name is Harinama Chintamani, and I will be your host for this series of presentations on the ancient Vedic knowledge from India, as translated through these literatures by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who came to this country in 1965 specifically to give us this ancient knowledge. And don't we need that now in this world that is so filled with darkness? We need the light of the self-realized souls who understood what this human life was meant for, who knew what the nature of the soul is, where we come from before we come into this body, where we go when we leave, and what the purpose of this human form of life is. We have been so misled. We have been lied to. We have been cheated in so many ways. And those lies and that cheating is coming to light every single day, more and more. Recently, being the month of September, there was the sad anniversary. We're not going to call it a celebration, but a remembrance of a very great tragedy that happened in New York, an orchestrated tragedy, just like the last 3 years that we have lived through. Orchestrated tragedy. We had no idea that those people who we trusted in charge of our government, in charge of organizations supposedly related to the government, departments in the government, our own school system, corporations, on and on and on, cheating on the highest level. And what is the basis of that cheating? Srila Prabhupada said the basis is a lack of God consciousness, a lack of Krishna consciousness. The Latin word Christos, it comes from the Sanskrit word Krishna, the reservoir of all beauty and pleasure, the supreme personality of Godhead, where each and every soul comes from. The movement that Srila Prabhupada started, based on the teachings of these ancient Vedic literatures, as given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, an incarnation of the Supreme Lord who appeared in this world 500 years ago, and who predicted, "My name will be known in every town and village of the world." We need an understanding that unites all of us, because those few evil atheistic people who are in charge now have separated us. They've separated us by gender, by age, by color, by religion. Separation, separation, separation. It has to stop. What we need now is to come together. In our Constitution, we talk about a nation, one nation under God. The only way that we can have a sense of equality, because obviously all of us are different by our natures. Some people are expert in one thing, some people are expert in another. But what do we have in common? We have in common the same Father, God. We are all sons and daughters of God, despite our social backgrounds, despite our racial backgrounds. We are all sons and daughters of God. We need to start establishing this foundation as the reality, as the truth of every single aspect of our civilization, otherwise, it is doomed. It is doomed. Socially, politically, economically, every front. There has to be a foundation of God consciousness, and it cannot be sectarian. So where will this come from? That is what we have to offer. This body of knowledge that is millions of years old has been available to us since the beginning of time. And periodically, the lineage is broken. The knowledge is lost. And it was reestablished, brought to the West in 1965 by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I want you to understand something very important. We are not sending you to the organization that was initially established by Srila Prabhupada in the 1960s because it is corrupt from top to bottom. Just like many other religious institutions and corporations. But the knowledge that Srila Prabhupada came to give is not lost. And that knowledge was meant to bring freedom, to bring emancipation, to bring truth of how this whole world was organized for millions of years, where there was so much economic satisfaction because everyone was engaged exactly according to their nature and respected for that. Where there was so much richness and opulence that people had jewels, pearls, gold. So much opulence. Now beautiful young girls are wearing plastic, rubber. Why not beautiful pearls and jewels and gold? We can have a society filled with opulence and goodness and richness and satisfaction. But there's a science. We have to understand that science. We have to understand and accept that there is a supreme authority in charge of everything. We are not in charge. Those small groups of atheists and demonic elements who exist in the world and have tried to take over and create everything according to their misdirected, upside down, dark mentality has created suffering and chaos. We may not be in the highest positions of authority. We may not have a lot of money. But if every single one of us begins to understand this science of God consciousness, we will change ourselves first, our families, our communities, our nations, and the world. And that is what this knowledge is meant to do. It is meant to bring freedom and joy. And that is my prayer in the series of presentations, that you will become enthused and attracted to dip in to this ancient Vedic wisdom and to be able to understand this science of God consciousness, that this world can be delivered from the precipice which it now stands upon. We have been told we are helpless. We've been made to feel there's nothing we can do. That is very, very far from the truth. Thank you for listening, and please continue to join me in further presentations. Hare Krishna.